Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on this channel where we are talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. And this video is about dating after narcissistic abuse. So I've got some fun content for you today, right? Things for you to really think about. Now, not a lot actually, some people will say to me, I'm too old, it's too late for me. When it comes to money, when it comes to dating, when it comes to transformation, when it comes to healing. Trust me, it's never too late for anyone, right? Because what we're playing for on this planet is quality of life and purpose. I really believe like living a fulfilled life requires us to be connected to a purpose. Now, a purpose doesn't need to be a job or your work. It just needs to be a connection to ourselves and the planet and each other that makes us know we're on track and doing our job, doing what we came to do, which includes all the things we came to experience, including loving relationships, money, enjoyment, fulfillment of life, right? So you're never too old and it's never too late, yeah? Unless you decide that, which is like deciding to say no to life in my mind, right? But if you think those external things are going to provide your happiness, then I would definitely say you need to work on your own fulfillment first, right? Because everything else, when we live from abundance, which I was talking about yesterday, and do look on my, I've got a course called Changing Your Energetic Set Point to Abundance. But when you live from abundance, it's like everything, the idea of that course, ultimately in changing your frequency, is to be a great magnet in the universe to things that light you up, to actually start. Some things you won't be able to control in this universe, they will just show up in your life, but some things we are actually having much more control over than we think in terms of what we could attract. And what we want to attract is things that light us up, right? And then if we can change our energetic set point, what that feels like is I'm always okay. I'm always able to fulfill my own needs. I'm always able to make myself happy. So whatever shows up is just extra. It's just a bonus. So we don't get icky and attached and enmeshed and at risk of predators, right? Because we're already filled up as much as possible. Not always. Sometimes life will hit us hard and we'll need to process some emotions, but that's good. In the work I teach, we process way quicker than anywhere else. People in my groups know this, right? And people that have known me going through my own personal life and transitions and stuff know that I still go through stuff, right? But I bounce back quick, right? Not because things didn't hurt and didn't matter, but because I'm getting so much better all the time at being able to human and being able to sort of work with my human, which means I allow those things to be processed, but they don't keep me stuck and they don't keep me in suffering. Let's talk about dating. So you're not too old, it's never too late, but you have to be true to yourself. Sometimes, by the way, if you decide you don't want to do anything, that's beautiful. And you don't, by the way, people think in order to meet someone, they have to jump through hoops and go on dating sites and do things they don't like. You don't have to do anything you don't like in this universe to attract what you want, right? Well, don't like is not necessarily, you don't have to do anything that's really not aligned with you to get what you want, right? Most people don't go towards what they want because of the way they think they'll have to get it. Most people don't even go towards money because they think they'd have to do bad things to get money or things that don't align with their values. That's never true. We just have to work on our belief systems and our energy so that we do things in alignment. But when we do things in alignment, guess what? They're more abundant for us. So you don't have to do anything in particular apart from be an energetic match to what you want, right? And I don't actually tell my clients that they have to wait too long before dating. I do say do the work, but actually I believe in there's a lot of information. You've got to be healed enough, right? But you're never going to be fully healed. So you can meet someone who can support you exactly where you are in your healing journey, by the way, and has the capacity to grow and evolve with you. That's totally possible. That's what most people do. They don't try and be fully healed before they meet someone. You've got to look after yourself and be true to yourself. But if your heart is truly calling to get back on the dating scene and to meet someone, right? It's not coming from your wounding. You're not still in this kind of reactive trauma response of I need someone to replace the narcissist and fulfill my needs because I'm not sovereign enough to fulfill my own. I would recommend you get as sovereign as, you work on your own sovereignty first so that it's not the same cycle. You're not, because otherwise you're going to just attract the same kind of person is what I'm saying, really. If you don't do any healing work after a relationship breakup, especially after narcissistic abuse, you are likely to attract the same type, right? Because you're still looking externally to get your needs met in an unhealthy way, right? You're still an energetic match to a narcissist if you haven't healed, right? Now, when the narcissist targeted you, you may have not been looking to get your needs met externally, but they condition you. So it's not always what, as I say, it's not always what we're an energetic match to. It's a universe of everything. And these guys are predators, right? You could have been really confident. I know I was, confident and abundant and independent, and then you could have got targeted. But still, there's healing to do after that to get you to know how to navigate relationships in healthy ways, right, that don't re-traumatize you. That's important. But if your heart is calling for it, right, relationships are always information, because they feed back to us, like where we're still triggered, what we've got to heal, what we're attracting, what we're a match to. They show us lots of things. As I say, not everyone we're attracting. Some people are predators. You just got to know who's who. But I'll give you some tips and advice. So the biggest one is don't fall into the same traps. But there's a balance of also not being so defensive and scared of that, right, that you push people away. So some of the pitfalls we have, right, especially after narcissistic abuse, is that, well, one is we move too soon. Moving too soon in a relationship is dangerous. It's dangerous. We move too soon because we really think we want something, because we're in lack. Look at the video from yesterday about poverty consciousness. And we want it to be this so bad that we're overlooking the situation for what it is. We're not being realistic sometimes. Or we are, again, creating another shared fantasy where we're believing the potential of something, not the reality. So don't move too soon. Be patient. Be discerning. Take your time. Sometimes when we have been sort of starved of love and affection, which honestly there's nothing wrong with you, right? If you're kind of feeling like that, because these cycles are so harsh, right? That we just want to meet someone so bad, we tend to overshare, we tend to gush, we tend to not be objective in how we're dealing with it. So the first thing is to come at someone with a very objective energy, to not over put your hopes and dreams on this person being the person. Stop making it mean if this doesn't work, nothing will work, it's too late for me, I'm too old, or blah, blah, blah. Don't just get out of all of that and see if you can take your time and observe, right? Don't overinvest. In fact, in relationships, really at the beginning, you shouldn't be investing more than they're investing in you. It should be balanced. Yeah, otherwise you're going to create an unhealthy environment. So take your time. Now, when something triggers you or you've got a question about it, use your voice. Not in a way to, not in a really defensive way, but for example, I think I said on a video a couple of days ago, you want to take things as slowly as you need to for your emotional needs to get met. It'll be different with every person, right? But for example, I said, like, say you feel a bit like interrogated because someone's asking you a lot of questions and some of them are very personal. You can say to someone, look, I do want to share with you my relationship history, for example, but we're just getting to know each other now. And I don't really want to go into that right now. But obviously, if we do decide to move forward together, I will tell you about my relationship history and, what I've learned from that. But right now, I don't want to do that. I just want to get to know you. Yeah. Now, a narcissist, on the other hand, probably will never give you any history or any truth. But you're not doing that here. You're just taking your time and you're seeing where you feel safe to invest. So when I say invest, I mean invest your emotions, your time, your energy, and your trust. Remember the video I made about trusting people. People have to earn your trust. It's not automatic. We have been conditioned to automatically trust people. And we've got this kind of response in us as humans, right? Because when someone seems to be sharing values, right, they could be lying and they could be making an illusion like a narcissist, but when they seem to be like us, we tend to trust them very quickly. Or if they've come from a similar background, or they've got similar stories or seeming to have, we tend to give our trust without, and I still struggle with this because I'm a trustworthy person, so I'd make the assumption other people are very automatically. So it's just to be mindful of it, right? But you want to observe your responses. Then you want to question your responses. Not because, again, most of us that have been through narcissistic abuse put the blame on ourselves too much and need to listen to our intuition more. When something feels off, you definitely need to honour it. If it feels off, right? But don't be scared to ask a question. If you've been with someone, you've been on a date and they made a few things and some things aren't adding up, if you really are interested in pursuing something, right, you've got to sort of see it as, I am making a decision. I am choosing this person. I'm not going to be swept up. I get to decide. I'm the creator of my own reality. So do I want to choose this person? Well, think about it. What questions do I want to know? Some things weren't adding up. So you can say to someone, oh, I know we were talking about, this the other day, or whatever context it is. I just have a question about it. Do you mind answering it? I hope you don't mind. And then just say it. Most of us haven't asked enough questions earlier on in relationships or trusted our gut. Now, when your gut says something's off, you might need to ask a question, you might need to leave the person, or you might need to heal a wound, or all three. But either way, if someone's triggering unhealed trauma in you, they're probably not someone that you need to be around right now. Yeah, because it's also absolutely fine to say, look, I have got abandonment wounds, to yourself probably to start with. So someone who's if they've got an avoidant attachment style, I'll go into what that is, they might not be right for you right now if you're very anxious attachment style. Attachment styles are the way that we kind of operate in relationships. What we want to get to is secure attachment, where we're kind of, again, sovereign in ourselves, right? But people have, and there can be a mixture of anxious, which is the level of kind of what people call neediness, reassurance you need, right? Which is totally fine if you're there. You get to have a relationship being an anxious attachment style. There are so many codependents on the planet. It's not a bad thing. It's just something you work with and evolve, right? So an anxious attachment style, someone who needs more reassurance, isn't going to do well with someone who's very on the spectrum of avoidant attachment style. Avoidant attachment style is what people call emotionally unavailable a lot of the time, right? You're not going to be very good with that right now. Yeah, you're going to need someone to be straight with you, right? So just understand it. Stop trying to, you don't have to block yourself in going out there and trying things, because someone could really fit you well and then you could grow together. But the point is, you've just got to understand what you need right now if you are going to go on the dating scene. Now, if you're in the avoidant, emotional, unavailable thing, then you've got to be true that you're not probably going to be capable of a very intimate relationship until you heal that, right? You're only going to be dealing with people who are also avoidant, emotionally detached, probably, or anxious, but you're never going to meet their needs if they're more on the anxious, more needing more reassurance. So you've got to be honest with yourself where you're at. You've got to know what's compatible to you. Trust your gut instinct. Ask questions. Be discerning. Reflect on things, right? Reflect on things, because sometimes when you know the difference between your intuition and fear, right? Because fear is very loud and very dominant, and that's normally coming from our wound, right? We're scared of being hurt again. But our intuition is a whisper, which is why we ignore it. It's just a hunch, right? We can't quite put our finger on it, but something feels off. Trust that very soon. When it's coming from fear, it doesn't mean you need to push through it and be with that person, right? It just means you need to go off and heal. But that person still could be wrong for you right now, because they're triggering something that actually you need someone who isn't going to trigger that, right? So if we would take our time, if you move emotionally, physically, sexually too soon, this is going to mess you up. For women, if you're low on oxytocin, which most women are, right, a lot of the time, and you can read about how to heighten your oxytocin levels, when you get physically intimate with someone, you release a love hormone, like when you have a baby. This means you're going to get very attached. We've gone through the beginning of time when women are saying, well, women get more attached than men. We know it. It's a chemical response. Now, that does not mean men, by the way, I work with a lot of men as well, that you aren't going to get attached if someone's physical with you. You will as well. You don't have the same hormone imbalance as women often do, but you certainly have, it's not an imbalance, hormone response. You certainly have primal needs, like we all do. And if someone is very sexual with you and serving that primal need, man or woman, right, then if that is feeling like a lack in your life, you might overlook everything about that person just because of the sex. So we really do, it depends on what you want, right? You've got to be clear on your needs, what you want from the dating experience. But if you want intimacy, then you can't move too soon sexually, because if you do, it's going to cloud your mind. Right? And what you want to do is be crystal clear on, you want to be really certain of what you want from the relationship in terms of what you need to support you, right? This is not being like, you get to be balanced and realistic and reasonable in the context, but you do get to choose, right? What's the point of getting in another bad relationship, right? And if you are going to date, enjoy dating, because it gives you feedback. But please, if you get triggered and go down an old cycle, don't decide, oh, I can't do this, this isn't for me. Take it as a learning opportunity. Take it as something that you get to take your time with, sort of test the water with, see how you're responding to things. If you meet a load of people that you don't like and aren't for you, please don't decide this means that there's no one in the universe available to you. Get on my other channel, manifesting channel, and learn how to change your energy, right? And attract what you want, because it's totally possible for you to meet someone absolutely loving, completely different to a narcissist, but you are going to have to change your the way that you might handle things, right? Now, this is no blame on it. I know people, like narcissists will play a long game. It's only when they've really hooked you, right, that they'll tend to turn on their behaviour. I've seen it anything from a few months to a few years, right, when they've got the marriage, or the person's they've had children together, or they're financially now not, the victim isn't financially independent, then the narcissist changes. So this is no blame on you, because you can't, it's not a timing thing necessarily, right? A narcissist will play a long game. So many of my clients have said to me, I can't believe this person was a narcissist. They seemed to be chasing me for so long. Why would they have chased me and tried to court me for so long? And I refused them. And then after a few years, I actually decided to give it a go. If they didn't care about me, why would they have pursued me for so long? Bear in mind, the narcissist always has a whole load of supply. So they can play a long game with you. They've got other people on the side, always, pretty much always, in some way, whether it's emotional or sexual or both, right? So you want to just be willing to speak, right? Put boundaries in. It's not so much testing someone, but the more solid we are in ourselves and willing to be authentic and truthful and open about our needs getting met, the quicker you'll flush out toxic people and narcissists. Because as soon as your need isn't met, you're going to be willing to walk away, but you've got to be willing to walk away. When you see it, I mean, I teach, don't give people the benefit of the doubt and don't expect the worst, be in between, right? But like when someone shows me who they are at least a couple of times, that's it for me. I'm not interested. I'm not here to fix them. I'm not here to coach them. Not in my relationships, not at all. If they don't know that, certain behaviours, because again, we get kind of normalised to quite extreme abusive behaviours. If someone is raising their voice to you, intimidating you, shutting you down, not hearing you, neglecting your emotional needs, kind of like talking you out of your experience and your reality, red flag, red flag, red flag, right? Now, the only reason we cling on to that is we don't believe what we want's available to us. So again, watch my video from yesterday about poverty consciousness, get on my other channel for manifestation, join some of the programs I do to start shifting your consciousness and your mind so you actually create what you want. You don't have to be perfectly healed to create a life you love and to meet the love of your life. You've got to be aware of where you are and what you need to support you, and aware of who's who. So comment, like, subscribe, share, let me know what you want more of, any more questions on this. I love doing things like this with people because I talk to people about it all the time, and I think it's like when you're confident to navigate life, to know that you can, you're a badass, you can see through things, you can do things differently, then you stop holding yourself back and you actually are motivated to create what you want. It's only when we don't believe we can have what we want and we think we're going to keep going round in these cycles that it doesn't seem worth it to us, right? So I want to inspire you, not just inspire you, but equip you to be able to move forward in a beautiful way. Lots of love, guys. I'll speak to you soon.